IGTV, Instagram is the best place to start, but YouTube is the best place to live. If I'm swimming, I don't want to reach the island. I want to swim forever. Like when you hit the top of a mountain, you hate your life. That's the right skill to learn.
Evan Carmichael, welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Good to be. Well, you flew up from Vegas, so I'm glad you came here.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty great trip so far. So I'm happy to finally be in studio though, and checking out this awesome setup that you guys got here. So happy to be here and to get into some really good stuff. We're kind of chatting a little bit pre-recording and talking a little bit about where we're going to take the conversation. But first, really quickly, I always like to try to build a little bit of context. Just in case somebody out there does not know who you are. Okay. So let's take it back, childhood Evan. I know that you were very much similar to a lot of the people that we have on the show, meaning like always had that entrepreneurial spirit, the entrepreneurial drive. So take me back, like 5-year-old Evan, what was your first penny that you ever earned?
5-year-old Evan was painting pictures with his 3-year-old little sister, and then sold it to my neighbor for 5 cents or 10 cents.
Nice.
That was the first thing I made and sold.
Solid deal.
Yeah, they probably just took pity on me, but I thought I was making it large.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of entrepreneurial tendencies growing up, baseball cards and garage sales, and my mom was really into antiques, and so we did a lot of garage selling, looking for stuff, and I would always go and sell baseball cards. Especially 92, 93, it's a little older now, I'm 12, 13, but the Blue Jays won the World Series, we're here in Toronto, baseball fever was blowing up. It's the same time that Upper Deck and baseball cards were on fire, so that became a huge obsession with me. And every week would be going 2 hours out of town to these baseball card shows, and I would negotiate with people who were in their 40s and 50s and giving me $1 that had, our dollars are coins, so like $1 that had gum on it or dirt on it, and like, yeah, I'll take that, whatever.
Right.
But I didn't know that I wanted to be an entrepreneur because at that time, I'm 39 now, just it wasn't part of the conversation. There was no path to being an entrepreneur. It wasn't,
It wasn't prominent.
Yeah, my parents were entrepreneurs. It wasn't talked about in the media. There was no social media, and so it was just, I wanted to be a banker. That's what I thought I wanted to be.
Is that what you wanted to be, or is that what your parents wanted you to be?
No, my parents were actually very supportive of whatever we wanted to do, and I have 2 sisters. I'm in the middle, and all 3 of us went off to do crazy things, which is great. I think that's partly because my mom grew up in a more traditional Italian household. She immigrated from Italy. Okay. And in an Italian household, women are supposed to have a role, and this is what you do, and she wasn't buying that.
Yeah, right.
And so she
Didn't
went off
fit the mold.
Yeah, she went off and really broke onto her own path. And so, the family back home had one perspective. She wanted to do something else, and so I think that gave us, myself, my 2 sisters, freedom to do whatever we wanted. She didn't want to be the oppressive, like, you have to do this. Yeah. So to find your own path. And so all 3 of us went off and did different crazy things. Okay. I just always loved money. I always loved finding ways to make money. And I was into stocks early on, and I just thought, be a banker.
Yeah, that was the route. Yeah.
That was the way to go.
Did you do well in school and things like that? Is that something that you enjoyed, or was it like, let's get out of this, I want to get into what I want to do forever now?
I was a B and C student mostly growing up, and my sisters were always A students. Okay. And I remember always having to have a sit-down conversation twice a year with my parents, look at my report card, and I got B's and C's, my sisters got A's, and it was expected that Carmichaels got A's. Yeah. But my parents always did it in a loving way where they would say, you're Castrelli Carmichael, you could do anything you believe in. And so always trying to make me feel like I could do it as opposed to I have to do it. Yeah. And then something happened for some reason in my last year of high school where I went and got straight 90s. My own expectations for myself exceeded what my parents wanted from me. I don't know really what sparked that, but after that I became, whatever I focused on I could be great at. So it's not that I couldn't be great at school, I just didn't super care about it. Yeah. Especially doing subjects that, like science, I hated. I sucked at science, zero interest in it.
Have that in common, man.
And so like being forced to do, I dropped it as soon as I could. Yeah. And then it became a little more interesting getting to pick topics that I cared about. And so I focused a little more on it. It was never my number 1 priority, going to university. I went to U of T here in Toronto. Okay. I did well. I wasn't top of the class, but I was in the upper part of the class.
Yeah. And what was your major?
Finance and economics.
Okay, got it.
But then I quickly realized that the only path with I loved economics, but nobody hires.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an entrepreneur thing.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is so like just you and your one business, where economics you're looking at
very macro.
Yeah, super macro. And I realized, man, this isn't unless I wanted to go be an economist, this isn't actually that helpful for me.
Yeah.
And so I joined an entrepreneur business. I took 30% of a company when I was in my, I want to say, third year. And the hardest decision was, do I go work at Merrill Lynch and make six figures and travel around the world, or do I make $300 a month and own 30% of this company? And what do I do?
Yeah. Why do you think that you chose the company instead?
Fear of regret. So the year prior, I went to Europe, and I was in France, and I was standing outside the Notre Dame Cathedral, and this girl comes up and asks me for directions, so I had my map open. And I thought she was cute, and I wanted to ask her out. And it didn't register for me, why is this girl in perfect French asking me for directions?
Right.
Didn't too nervous, I guess.
Right.
And I didn't ask her out. I chickened out.
Yeah.
I was too afraid. I didn't know if I get the right words out in French, and I didn't know where we would go. I was just too afraid. And then she left. I told her where to go on my map, and she left. And then I took a picture of the river, because it's on the river. And then when I got home, I took that picture and I blew it up and I put it on my wall. And I didn't tell people the story when they came over. They just saw this beautiful French riverside picture. But to me, it was like, I don't want to live with regret. I would rather no one fail than not know.
Yeah.
Right? No one fail than not know. And so it hung above my bed in this basement apartment. And every time I looked at it, it was that reminder. So I've been looking at that picture every day for almost a year. And then this opportunity comes along to get my dream job, the job that my friends all wanted. It's a heavy recruitment. Like, they fly me out to the Waldorf Astoria in New York, and they lay it all out.
Right.
Versus 30% of a company and $300 a month. And then I asked myself, what would I regret? Right? And I said, you know what? I could always get another job. It may not be that job, may not be Merrill Lynch, may not be in Singapore, may not be like all this stuff, but I don't know, I can get another job.
Right.
This entrepreneur thing, I don't know if I'll ever get this shot again.
Yeah.
So I had that picture on the wall and that reminder of the French girl, and like, I'm gonna give it a year and see what happens.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's been that lens through which I see the world of, I don't want to live with regrets. So I imagine myself at 95 and just think, am I gonna regret this? Because you very rarely regret the things done. It's the actions not taken, because you were afraid. And so I don't want to be that.
So going back into your story, you were coming out and thinking about taking this job that was, six-figure salary and like really the ideal dream job, especially for the career path that you were trying to go down, versus struggle, here's 30% plus $300.
Yeah.
The ability to delay gratification. Can you talk about how important that has been in your entrepreneurial journey?
That's interesting, because I think of gratification as the process more than the result.
The end result.
Yeah. So like, gratification for me isn't making $100,000 or for my YouTube channel getting to 1 million subscribers. Like, I didn't even want to celebrate 1 million subscribers. I celebrated for my fans because they kept asking me. But for me, I don't want to. If I'm swimming, I don't want to reach the island. I want to swim forever.
Yeah.
I don't want to hit the top like, when you hit the top of a mountain, you hate your life. I want to climb forever.
So it's more like training yourself to really enjoy the journey.
And that's what it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, the people who win, the entrepreneurs that you look up to, they love the process of the thing. They love doing the thing.
Yeah.
Money's important, but it just can't be number one. It has to be in your top 5, though, because a lot of entrepreneurs fail because money is too far down on their list. It's like number 100. Like, I don't need to ever monetize this show or podcast. Okay, well, then you suck, right? Like, even a charity needs to make money.
Right.
But it just can't be number 1. But it needs to be in your top 5.
Got it.
So I love the thing. I love making videos. I love doing interviews. I love helping. Even the show. I don't know. I didn't ask how many people watch the show. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 4 million.
Yeah.
It's not about how many people watch a show. It's about the conversation, right? I want to spread the message.
Yeah.
So I love the work too much. So I wanted to taste the entrepreneurship world, because I was worried that I would regret it if I didn't go off and try. I didn't actually expect it to work. Most businesses don't work. And I didn't know what I was doing. So, and we're selling scientific software, and I sucked at science, and I'm the sales guy, right? It's like, it's not lining up to look good for me. But I needed to know. I needed to know, just to taste it, to try it, to experience it. So that's what I was after.
So then what ended up happening then with that company?
So we struggled for the first I don't know, 16, 18 months, really badly. Weren't making any money. I was too afraid to get on the phone and talk to people because I was worried that I would sound like a kid, and I'm selling to people who are 56 years old with all these PhDs, and I sucked at
deep
science.
understanding of the actual.
Deep understanding, like that they wouldn't respect me, and it was also different. 20 years ago there's a little more cred for young people now with social media and expertise than back then. So we struggled a lot, and the worst day of my life was when I told my partner that I quit. We're at a family function, and it wasn't working. Like, we're not working, we're not making any money. I feel like a loser all the way through. I'm at some family function.
And this was like 16, 18 months in, you're saying, that you told him?
Yeah, okay. Like Thanksgiving or something like that. And he calls me on the phone, and we're disagreeing over what to do next, just like you're gonna do when things aren't working. And at the end of it, I just said, I quit, man. Like, I gotta move on and feel like I have worth as a human being. And then I hung up the phone, and I just started bawling. Stuff kind of in my eyes, my nose, I couldn't imagine I was quitting on something that I loved, right? It just felt still too soon, that I hadn't given it my all. And I remember my mom came up and put her hand on my shoulder, and I don't remember what she said. I was just lost. And then I woke up the next day, and I said, I can't quit yet because it's still the regret. Like, I haven't given it everything. I know it's hard, it's rough, but I haven't given it everything. I would still rather know and fail than not know. And so, but I can't keep doing the same thing we've been doing because this isn't working. It's not working. Something has to change here. So I asked myself, who's built a software company before? And I looked at Bill Gates' story. This is the first guy I could think of in software. And I looked at how he went from 0 to 1. Not how Bill Gates makes an extra million now, who cares? But 0 to 1, how do you do it? And I said, I'm gonna try applying these strategies to my company. And I woke up that day and went back to my business partner's apartment. So we worked out of his place. And to his credit, he opened the door and just let me in, and we just started working.
No conversation.
Yeah, no, I thought you quit, man. Like, what's the deal? Why are you so negative? Nothing, just to his credit, right? And so we just sat back down.
Come on in.
I worked at his dining room table, and we just went back to work.
Yeah.
And I started modeling Bill Gates' success, and they won through partnerships. And so I started applying the partnership strategy to my business, and pretty shortly after got my first check for $13,500 from a company in the UK. And for me, that was money. That was bank.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, but like money, just money. I'm making $300 a month. This is $13.5K. This is serious. And yes, we had a model to follow. And then that started the upwards trajectory of the company.
Yeah.
But also, so I said, your purpose comes from your pain. This is what my pain was so much as an entrepreneur, that I help other entrepreneurs. But then the process that you use to get out becomes a recipe for other people.
Yeah.
How did I save my company? By modeling Bill Gates. What have I done for the past 20 years? Showcase all these famous entrepreneurs and what you can learn from their success. So your path out wasn't some random fluke. It's something that you can then teach to other people.
Right. So that is then what you did. So you grow the company, you decide to sell, basically, right? And then afterwards, you decide to get into YouTube. Like, what was that whole decision-making process?
So I wish it was super clear like that. I was kind of wandering around, figuring out my path. I sold my business when I was 22, so 19 to 22. My partners both moved to California as a part of the deal. We got acquired by a U.S. company.
Okay.
They went to California. They were the techies. They didn't need me as the business guy, so I stayed back.
Gotcha.
And didn't know what to do. I mean, it's great. I got a bank account, awesome, but now what do I do? All I've done for the past 3 years is live this company. So I joined up with a venture capital company for a little bit. I didn't know, we never had to raise capital. We were on the cusp. We were talking to some companies, but we got bought before we needed to raise. So I said, I wanted to learn how to raise capital. So I connected with a company here in Toronto, and for about a year and a half, worked with them, learning. These guys were on their 60s or 70s, knew the street inside out.
Right.
And so I was the fresh blood coming in and just learning and soaking up all their knowledge like a sponge. I only knew one industry, but these guys, as a VC, you get access to lots of different industries. And at that same time, then I started to get asked to speak at different events. So I got flown to Mexico for an APEC summit representing the Canada team as a young entrepreneur, and then I got flown to Brunei to do another event, just as a young entrepreneur success story, kind of sharing what I went through. And then I came back and I said, well, why only do international things? I should do something here in Toronto for local entrepreneurs too. And so I started that, and I just I don't know, I loved it. My first event here in Toronto was with the YMCA, and they asked me to come speak for free at their event. And I said, okay, I'll do it. It was 2 weeks out, and they booked this huge room, and I remember the day of, I'm so nervous, I've been preparing, like I want to have the perfect speech, it's my hometown, and 3 people were there. 3 people. And I spent so much time preparing, and I thought, man, how am I ever going to make money off of this if it's free and only 3 people show up?
Right.
But I thought, you know what, they're here, I'm here, I'm not going to walk away,
right.
just go do it. So I did it, and then it was awesome. Like, man, I really helped those 3 people.
Yeah.
I need to find a way to keep going. I didn't know how to ever make money doing it, but I knew that I had to find a way to keep going.
Pause real quick,
because
that right there is what I find to be the common denominator in terms of purely content creation. People that are trying to build an audience around creating some sort of consistent content is that they want the 1.8 million YouTube subscribers, but when the 3 people show up on their first time, they give up on it because it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't attached to the numbers. You were attached to supporting and helping people. And like, if you can get behind your mission and get attached to that sort of the outcome, instead of just like, I want big inflated numbers, then that's, in my opinion, really where the magic happens. And that's why a lot of people give up and quit so soon, because they don't treat the 5 people as if it's 1 million people. They want to save all their good stuff for later, right? Like, they just want to keep pushing it off. Like, well, one day when I get 1 million, then I'll take it more seriously when I have 1 million subscribers, or I'll take my speeches more seriously when there's 500 people there instead of just 3 people there. So what would you say to somebody out there that's like really kind of on that hustle right now?
So one, again, tying your self-respect to the effort, not the result. Like, are you proud of your effort? I was proud of myself for doing those 3 people, even though it was only 3 people. Like, I was proud. 2, did you enjoy the process, right? Again, you have to enjoy the process of doing it. I love doing it. Even though it was only 3 people, I still loved the conversation and helping them. And then 3, which has been a more recent one that I've added in, is expect to suck at the start. You're going to suck. A big problem is you expect to be great. Like, I can do that. You watch somebody on YouTube and say, I can do that. And then you go and you do it, and you can't do it. And then you're embarrassed by what you look at. It's like, I didn't realize I suck so much.
And somehow you're shocked.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You watch yourself back, like,
shocked.
man, that sucks. and then you never release it, or you release one, and so that.
Oh, that's just not for me. That's just not.
Well, that's the thing. But then if you only do stuff you're great at,
right?
Because you tie your self-respect to the winning, then you're only going to do things that you're going to win at, and so then you play small for life.
Right.
Where I don't think that I suck as a human. I just don't have the skill yet.
Yeah.
Right? So you're coming in here and filming these videos. We got this set up. I don't know, maybe you're nervous with all the lights and everything else you're doing. But dude, we've done 6,000, 7,000 videos. Like, it's unfair to compare.
Right.
And I would only use a comparison as a kick forward, where most people will kick themselves down. So I look at young Les Brown. I don't know if you know Les Brown, the speaker. Young Les Brown is my hero for a speaker. He's in my books, the #1 speaker of all time, young Les Brown. I look at that and say, man, that's like, I don't know if I could ever be that great.
Yeah.
But I use that as inspiration for what's possible, not I suck, so I should stop, right? But I think you need the kick. I think the kick is important. Just what's the direction? You need to kick forward, not to kick down. And so you need to start and try things, and at the same time expect to suck. Yeah. So everything I do at the beginning sucks. It should suck. Like, if you don't suck in your first video, you should have started 4 years ago.
Right.
Like, you actually suck as a human for not having tried 4 years ago. Right? You're supposed to suck at the thing at the beginning. And
that's what Reid Hoffman always says that.
Okay.
Like, if you're not embarrassed by your first product, then you've launched too late.
Yeah. Same thing. But now apply it to whatever you're trying to learn, whatever you're trying to get good at. It just means you don't have the skills yet, and that's okay. How do you get them? Practice. Keep going.
So let's talk about that then. So growing a YouTube channel, lots of people are trying to do that. What made you successful at it in a sea of a bunch of people failing?
I think you need to figure out what your lane is. So for me, I have the combination of believe, so that's what I stand for, and try to instill belief in people when they come to the channel. And then also creating content that I wish existed. So I didn't want to do, if you're looking at the top 10 series, for example, I wish you did it. I don't want to do it. I want to just subscribe to your channel and you do it for me, right? Here it is, gift wrap, the best things that Elon Musk ever said in 20 minutes. Amazing.
Right.
I just wanted to consume that, but it didn't exist, so I made it. And just like every other entrepreneur, it's like you figure out what the hole is, what the opportunity is, and then you go and you fill it. But based off of your story, why did I care so much about that? Because modeling Bill Gates saved my company. And so I wanted to help other people. Once you get through the hurdle, you want to give back. You take a step on the staircase, you want to reach back and pull people up to join you on the step that you're at. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I cared so much about modeling success. So for somebody who's just getting started, first off, I think YouTube is the best place to build a long-term brand because it's the only platform where your content lives forever. Even a podcast, nobody goes back to episode 14 when you have 5,000 podcasts, right? Nobody cares about your tweet from last week. But my videos from 5 years ago are still getting views. So it's the only place where your content lives forever, as long as it's evergreen stuff. Like this interview, we're not touching on anything that's specific to this date and this time. It's not a news coverage. So in 6 years, somebody could still learn from this video. Yeah. But because it has that ability to live forever, it's also the most competitive and the hardest to get started with. So people often quit too soon. Yeah. And so I actually recommend starting with Instagram because it's easier to get going and get traction, and then transitioning to YouTube.
Like IGTV specifically, or just Instagram in general?
All of it. IGTV, Instagram is the best place to start, but YouTube is the best place to live. If you care about building a long-term brand. If you say like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to be a thought leader for the rest of my life. Great, you need to be on YouTube creating content. If it's, this is my thing for 2 years to flip it to then give me permission to go do something else, then don't worry about YouTube. Yeah. It's going to take you too long to start building any kind of traction.
Was there a time during your whole journey where you noticed there was like a big amount of traction that was coming in, or was it just a really slow, gradual build up over time?
The decision to go daily on my channel made a huge difference. Going from one a week to once a day had a huge spike in my channel. Yeah. And then once a day to twice a day had another huge spike. Consistent content wins.
Yeah, yeah. All the time.
And it's hard. And so this is where it becomes a challenge, because how do you get good quality content out so consistently? And here's what I would actually recommend doing for a thought leader, right? So Travis, the thought leader, what I care about is how you think. You think a different way. You think differently. I want to know how you think. So even as you walk into here, what you look at might be different than what the average person looks at. How you see this space is different than the average. That's your most important job. I'm coming to you to understand the way that you think. And so most people spend too much time on the editing of their video and not enough time on making the video. So a typical person would spend 20 minutes making a video and then 5-6 hours editing it. You're training the wrong skill. You're training yourself to get good at editing. But the skill you want to get good at is being able to speak. Content, speak, like get your ideas out into the world and capture it in a video format. You should spend 5-6 hours recording it over and over and over again, so that you get to a 10-minute video that needs no editing. And then as you grow, then you hire editors and you surround yourself, you get a team. But your ultimate goal should be, as a thought leader, I want to be able to take my message from a 15-second Instagram story to a 5-minute IG Live TV, to a 10-minute YouTube video, to a 40-minute keynote, to a 3-day workshop retreat with me. And everywhere in between, you need to collapse and expand your message. That's the right skill to learn. But most people are working on the wrong skill. They don't produce content because they're worried about the fancy editing. Now, if you're an editor, your guy, my guy, they need to, if Danny's editing reel sucks, so nobody's gonna hire him. Right?
Exactly.
It's just a different skill set. Your editing reel should be most important you making content. So that if that means you just get out your phone and you put it on a tripod and press record and give me something fire, that's gonna help your brand much better over short term and long term. And then you'll eventually be able to hire somebody to help you with everything else.
So what do you think is, in your experience, the best performing type of content on YouTube to this point? Like top 10 lists or solo shows or interviews, like a combination? What do you think has been best performing for you?
Within the thought leadership space, right? Because there's entertainment and prank channels and food and all that stuff. Within the thought leadership space, I think it's a combination of interviews and then showing me something, showing me the result. So,
like how-tos almost?
How-tos, but on the thought leadership it's a little bit harder. What I would love to see you do, like what's the one thing that you think you teach people the best at?
Networking.
So what I would love for you to do is take somebody to a networking event and help them.
And document
the
whole thing.
Follow them along, and you have them in studio like this and say, okay, tell me your story. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Who are you trying to network? Why should people care? What's your story? And then you give them tips like, hey, sit up straight, or like, let's go practice, and use me as a demo, and like, hey, I'm Travis, or whatever.
Right.
But then go to an event and film them and show them sucking probably at the beginning, and then Travis, the coach, comes back and says, okay, next time that's good. You got the sweats off. Next time just go and say this, right? Like, why are you here? What are you trying to learn from the speaker? Just introduce yourself like that. You give him a little tip, and then he goes and he does it. And it needs to be, you need to have clean audio so we can hear what's happening.
Yeah.
And as long as the camera's not super shaky, but you don't need like a huge production around that. Showing people getting the result will make a huge difference. So I think that's hard to do on a daily basis. So supplementing it with, here are my 5 tips to get networking. Here's the things you need to do, or here's the events you need to show up at, or how often you should go, or how to go to your nerves, or whatever the how-tos that you would do in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I would definitely put some kind of live action where you're helping somebody, you're coaching somebody. That's how you actually come across as a thought leader, and that when you see them struggling and failing, because the people watching say, oh my gosh, that's me. Like I would suck. I would be nervous trying to go off and introduce myself, right? And you become the guy who helps them.
Got it. What about long form, short form? Like, is there such thing as too long? Should we be going for shorter videos?
So it depends on the platform. If you're looking at YouTube, I would say 10 minutes at a minimum.
Okay.
That's what we aim for internally.
Okay.
Every video, we want to be 10 minutes long, at least.
Got it.
No max. My best video is 38 minutes long.
Okay.
I have videos that are 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours that crush it.
Okay.
It's really hard to get a short 3-minute video to rank.
To do well.
It used to be YouTube used to be more an entertainment platform. There was no thought leadership content. It was cat attacks man, and like man falls downstairs, and just stuff that you would waste your time on.
Comedy shorts and stuff like that.
But it's evolved, and those still exist, but the longer form is what tends to do a lot better. And so the only short ones that really pop are either some kind of insane news drama, live action, like man shoots somebody, and right? Or music videos. Why? Because the music videos get the repeat. You listen to it again and again and again and again, right? That doesn't happen typically for thought leadership. They're not looping your video all day long, right? So we aim for
be hella captivating.
Like if Danny cut this video and it came back and he gave me a 6-minute version, like man, we got to find a way to add. Like, did we not talk about anything else that we can bring in to make it a 10-minute video?
Got it. So that's like very, like bare minimum.
Internally, 10 minutes is what we like. Ideally, it's what we aim for. Now, if you can't, don't force it.
Right.
If it's 8 and 8's the best you got, then you do 8.
Yeah.
But
better 8 minutes of quality than to add another 2 minutes.
But then realize within it that if you're talking about networking, you have a deep well of knowledge around networking. It's not just like 2 things and that's all you can say.
Right.
So give me more context. Give me another example. Tell me a story
or two.
Yeah, like just take me a little deeper. Explain it to me better. Don't say the same thing 18 times, which is hard at the beginning when you're filming. Like if you watch it back, man, I'm so repetitive.
Right.
But if you're an expert, then take me deep and give me more context around it. No maximum. 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
No such thing as too long, just too boring.
Yeah. So, example, I had Neil Pasricha. I don't know if you know him. He's sold 1 million+ books. Local Toronto guy.
Okay.
We did a 10-part series on how to sell 1 million books. Educational series. He came up with 10 tips and we talked about it. We filmed 15 to 20-minute videos.
Okay.
Because edited, that's going to be at least a 10-minute video.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, we're going to talk about for 15 minutes on each one. And Danny, my camera guy, at 15 minutes, he's like, 5. And then when we hit 20, he's like, stop.
Yeah.
So unless we're on some crazy good story, we'll stop right after 20 minutes. And we usually end between the 15 and 20. Like once I got to 15, like, okay, anytime now I can wind it down. Because I want to get that. I'd rather have quantity of 10-minute+ videos. Like if you can have 6 10-minute videos, it's better than one 1-hour video.
Got it.
But 10-minute video at a minimum. Yeah.
Well, look, man, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got a lot of people coming in here. I'm about to do a small event in the studio and stuff, so I want to be really respectful of that. I always got to ask this question. This is like my
this
go-to
is it.
question.
This is the go-to. I'm excited.
All right. Over almost 300 episodes now.
Okay.
This is the one. It's all about networking, so this is the question I ask everybody.
Yeah.
Who you know or what you know? Which one is more important and why?
Who you know or what you know, which one is more important or why? Interesting. I've used the what I know to get to the who I know. It's probably an atypical answer. I'm an introvert. I don't do networking super well. I do it through what I know. For example, about YouTube, I've helped a lot of the big names in the thought leadership space with their channels. People who've been on my channel, I've helped them a lot. And the what I know created the leverage to create the who I know. I think it's a backwards way that most people look at it. Now, those people have helped me a lot in then expanding what I do, so the who I know becomes important. But the what I know led me to the who I know instead of the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no right answer. That's why I ask it open-ended like that, because I get a lot of different answers to that question. So I know that we've kind of like sprinkled this throughout the whole conversation, but can you tell me a specific story in your life, your career, where maybe a connection that you had led you to maybe an opportunity that you might not have had you not had that connection?
Sure, and maybe this would help. Like, let me tell you about networking for introverts.
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm introverted. It may not come across on stuff like this, but I never talk to the person next to me on the airplane. I don't say hi. I could probably
same exact way.
I could probably use a lot of your coaching of like how to do better at stuff. And I don't know if you know Charlie from Charisma on Command. Have you ever seen that YouTube channel?
Say the
Charisma on Command is the YouTube channel. So Charlie runs the channel.
Yeah.
And we met at an event, a YouTube event, and he then later made a video. It's like, hey, Evan, I want to make a video about you. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, of course, go for it. And the video was, I met Evan Carmichael, this master networker. Like, master networker? How am I the master networker, right?
Yeah.
And so like I was curious as to watching why. So some specific strategies for introverts, since I will never go up. Unless I know the person, I need to make that introduction and get something. For the most part, I don't. So how do I do it? One, I speak at events. So I speak and then people come and talk to me after. I'm not going up and, I don't attend many events that I'm not actually speaking at. But I've created a lot of, I'm more on the marketing than on the sales. I've created a lot of marketing engine that people know me, like you asked to come interview me, so here we are. Amazing, right? So creating that honeypot that people want to fly into instead of being out. So I speak at a lot of events. Two, whenever I'm at an event, I always wear my branded gear. So if it's an entrepreneur event or a YouTube event, people will recognize, I got Evan Carmichael Believe on the back and the airplane, and so it's like, oh, I think I know that guy. And
I've seen that somewhere.
Yeah, and then people come up and they say, are you the guy? And it creates a conversation, right? Now it's easy because I have a brand, but if I didn't, then I would try to have something that would cause attention on myself, right? It's like these shoes. People always ask me about these shoes. These like these Japanese rap shoes. People always say, where'd you get those shoes? Right? And so doing something that then people will come to me instead of me reaching out. So whether you like cowboy hats or some crazy jersey or chains or whatever, something that creates conversation to make it easy for people to find you. Next, I always go to the middle of the busiest room. And I don't talk to anybody. I pull up my phone and I start doing IGDMs. And what it does is it creates energy. So instead of being like at the back of the room on the phone or in my room or whatever, I go to the middle of the room and I'll just start doing IGDM responses. Now, I get a lot of people DMing me, but if you're just starting, you don't have a lot of people following, look at how many people follow you. Maybe you have 100 people. How many people follow you on Instagram?
27,000.
27,000, like that's a huge number. Somebody watching, maybe you have 50, awesome. Make a video message for all of your 50, say, hey, Jim, thank you so much for following me, I really appreciate you. Send, next, right? You have 27,000, go all day.
Be busy,
right? And then, but what that does is it raises your energy, and then people see it. And then as soon as I'm done one of the messages, invariably somebody's gonna come up and talk to me afterwards. And so that gives permission to create the conversation. Then in the conversation, I'm introverted, and I think one of the strengths of it is I listen well. I like to hear their story.
I always argue that. I'm very much introverted myself. I always argue that introverts make better networkers than extroverts because of that one thing. But yeah, go ahead.
You listen better. And so I'm always listening, and I'm trying to find ways that I can help them. So Charlie came up, and I'd never met him before. I knew about his channel. He knew about mine, whatever, create an opportunity. And he started talking about how he wanted to write a book. And so I said, hey, I've got a literary agent. You want me to introduce you to my lit agent? Here's the things she's going to look for. And so we had a half-hour discussion around the lit agent. And then he was looking at doing a TV show, and then there was a panel about TV shows. And so I introduced him to the guy who was doing, I didn't even know the guy. I just said, hey, Charlie wants to do a TV show. You do funding for TV shows, like you guys should connect. And then a buddy of mine, Sean Cannell, if you know Sean.
Yeah, he's a Vegas guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, great. Local for you.
I'll chat with him in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So he has his YouTube show looking to interview influencers. I've been on his show at least 2 times. And he said, hey, Sean, you looking to interview more people? It's like, Charlie from Charisma on Command is here. Do you want to talk to him? Like, yeah, I'd love an introduction. And so I introduced them.
Now you go to the value add.
Right. And so I'm not even thinking about that naturally. I'm just trying to help. Yeah. Like I'm listening, and then here, how can I help? And that I'm a master networker now, apparently. Right? So.
But honestly, you are.
Yeah, that's it. That's how it is.
That's all it is.
Even though I think I'm the worst networker of all time. Yeah.
Looking for the way that you can just add some value and help out. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's really as simple as that.
So I think it's creating, like the hardest part is probably creating the conversation that people will talk to you. Or, like going up and approaching to me sounds terrifying, and now that I say that sounds terrifying, I need to attack it and do it just because. Right? You should.
Right.
But so I do it through marketing. I do it through speaking. I do it through branding. I do it through having something unique. Yep. I do it through raising my energy with the video DM. So specific tactics that people can leverage, so that people come and find you. Because if you're buried in the corner at the event and head down and nothing exceptional happening, but nobody's going to want to talk to you. And then you'll probably leave after 45 minutes and say this sucks and I wasted my money coming here and all that kind of stuff. So. I've had a lot of great opportunities that came. So to your original question, I guess, right? Like even meeting Charlie. I actually went to say hi because I knew his face and I was a fan of his channel. And then he made a video about me. And his channel's bigger than mine. And at the time I had, 400,000 subscribers. He had over 1 million. And now I got featured on this channel, 1 million plus people, without asking.
Right.
Just because
exactly.
I just tried to help him out.
Right.
That's it.
Love it, man. I mean,
cool.
We could chat so much about this kind of stuff. I know you got to get running. Let's move on to the last segment really quickly. Just a few questions, quick, random questions. It's just the random round. So
random round.
Really
Let's
quick.
Go.
All right. What profession other than your own do you think that it would be fun to attempt?
Professional salsa dancing. I mean, I've kind of done it, but hardcore.
If you could sit on a park bench with someone past or present, chat with them for an hour, who would it be and why?
AP Giannini, because he's my favorite entrepreneur of all time.
How do you like to consume content? Books, audiobooks, blogs, podcasts, or videos?
Video, hands down.
Give us a glimpse of your morning routine.
5 S's. Sing. Music on makes me that I want to sing to, raises the energy. Sun, get outside, get some fresh air. Soar, do the thing that makes you come alive. Sweat, some kind of workout. And then scare, which will usually be a cold shower.
Give us, what is your go-to pump-up song?
Right now, I have an Alan Walker song. I don't remember what it's called, but it's one of Alan Walker's newer songs.
What is something that you are just not very good at?
Almost everything.
Just
period. Video editing.
There you go.
98% of things more. Like I'm only good at 4 things, and that's it.
Awesome, cool.
Yeah.
As we get everything wrapped up here, Evan, besides YouTube, what's
Yeah.
one place online where we can find you the most?
Instagram. Right now, Instagram.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
If you have a podcast or interview show and want me to be a guest on it, I have 2 options for you. There's a link right there next to me. Go click it, and I look forward to being a guest on your show.